Speaking about characters with names, well, food for names, it's a great segue into a game both of us have been playing, one that I've finished. Chicory, A Colorful Tale.
So just to be clear, I've only played about an hour and a half yesterday, but you have in fact rolled credits in this game.
I played a lot of it last weekend and then carried on throughout this week. So it's a game developed by a rather small group of people. They developed a game, or some of them helped develop a game a while back called Wonder Song, which apparently is kind of like the same sort of idea as Chicory, but using song instead of like paint and color, to tell a story.
Yeah.
But essentially, Chicory is a game. It's a 2D adventure puzzle game. If you had to like break it down into its base elements, and the main sort of mechanic is you have this paintbrush that can color in the world. So all of the screens you visit are in black and white, thanks to a like apocalyptic event that happens really early in the game. All the color from the world is like stripped away and everything's black and white. And you are at liberty to kind of like fill things in. Every area, every named area you go to gives you a limited palette of colors. I think it's like usually four colors.
4, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And you can scroll through them and blot in the world as you go. Like prominent items on the screen, when you click them, they immediately get colored into that. Yeah. But you can do all sorts of things, like you can do, brush strokes. You can change the size of your brush. You can click and hold and it starts filling from that point, which is really satisfying. You see like the paint like grow out from where
also
your
the sound it
brush is.
makes, it's like bloop, bloop, bloop.
It's very good. It's very, very good. It's very nice, wet, squishy sounds. I like it a lot. You eventually start unlocking things like patterns that you can put down, and textures, which allow you to get like really creative with how you paint in worlds, and it's what leads to the more intricate looking screens that I've seen floating around from this game. But it's also not the main mechanic. This isn't a interactive coloring book like I maybe thought it was before I started playing, but it's actually quite a very satisfying puzzle game. So it reminds me a lot of like a Legend of Zelda or any Metroidvania you can think of, because you have a certain set of abilities at the start and you unlock abilities as you progress. One of the first new abilities you get is allowing your paint to glow in the dark so you can enter caverns. Later on, you get an ability where you can swim in your paint, all Splatoon style, which is really fun because that really opens up the world. So you navigate the world of, what's the world called? Picnic, I think it is.
Is it? I actually have no idea what the world's called. I just know some of the area names, but they're all named after like. Picnic. Oh, is it not Luncheon?
Luncheon's the first town.
Is that the first town? Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's Picnic. So essentially, you have this like map. It's a rather massive map to explore, but you're gated by, obstacles that you can only pass when you've got the correct ability to get past them. So very Zelda Metroidvania style in that regard. But I found that each new ability was really cool, and all of the puzzles associated with the new ability were really fun. They tested me in like interesting ways. Like I never found the game I never found it really that difficult. Like I didn't think any of the puzzles were ridiculously difficult, but at the same time, I didn't think they were too easy, because when you find puzzles that are too easy, it's like, oh god, I just have to go through the motions and like I know the solution. They hit that like really delicate fine line of accessible and satisfying to solve. In a way that very few puzzle games do. I think like Portal is a good example of a game that gets that right, where you can walk into a room and be like, I know what to do. I kind of need to figure out how to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it's
the
like
execution.
it's kind of impossible to do. You walk into a room, there's just too much. You go, I don't know how to do this. You know, I know I need to get to that point, but it seems impossible. Then you do it, you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
Like
that was easy. Yeah.
And I found with Chicory, like, I hear you, I'm still early in the game, but even the puzzles I've done, it's very much a thing of like, you know, I need to get from A to B. How do I get there? And it's, you know, just figuring it out. And it is satisfying when you get it. It's not like obvious.
I think what helps is that the puzzles are per screen. So you never have to move an object from one screen to the next. So it's like when you look at a puzzle, everything you need to solve that puzzle is on that screen.
Yeah.
Like you never have to worry, like, did I forget an item back there that I need to like transition into the screen or whatever. So that's really cool. I think that keeps it like fairly approachable and whatever. So it's a pretty long game. It's like, it took me about 12 hours to finish, and there's still a lot I could have done in the game, like lots of side stories and that. But it's really the story that grabbed me in this game. It's firstly, it's just got a lot of like really interesting lore. Like this is a world where colors kind of like fades over time. So you have these singular wielders who are like artists who are chosen to carry this magic paintbrush that you get at the beginning of the game, and basically recolor in the world to keep it looking good. But through that, they are able to kind of reinterpret the world in their vision, like what they see the world as. And that idea is pretty cool, but it comes with the caveat of expectation. Like as color fades, a new artist like goes to touch it up, but maybe they don't touch it up to a way that the inhabitants of a house, for instance, particularly likes. So they're constantly weighed down by this expectation of you need to uphold the legacy of the artists before you, while also trying to find a way to put your own spin on like what you put out into the world. And like it's a metaphor for sure. Like if you've ever put something out for anyone else to consume, be that writing, be that videos, music, art, it doesn't matter. It's like anything that is part of you that someone else interacts with, and you are worried about their expectations or their reactions to that. Like Chicory really drills down into what that feels like and what it means to create something, and the problems that can be associated with that. Like the game is not shy about dealing with themes of depression, themes of burnout, imposter syndrome. Like I think that was the thing that hit home largest for me, is throughout the game you're doing all these incredible things and you're helping all these people, but your hero is constantly questioning whether they are even like worthy of being in the role that they find themselves in. And I think that's, not everyone maybe can relate to depressive episodes, and not everyone can relate to burnout, but I think everyone can relate to the feeling of not feeling like you belong somewhere, like doing a job and feeling like you're waiting for someone to catch you out and be like, hey, wait, you actually can't do this work. Why are you even working here? You know what I mean? And I just thought the game, it approached those themes very thoughtfully. I didn't feel like it was condescending at any point. And it just it deals with them in a very thoughtful and cathartic way. Like this is not a game that is here to give you the answer to solving those problems. It's just a game that kind of acknowledges that more people than you think are like going through the same sort of thing. So it's okay. You know what I mean? One of my favorite quotes, I think it's near the beginning of the game, you meet one of the previous wielders. He looks like a big lion. And one of his lines is, "Don't worry about it. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing." And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty true.
Pretty much,
his name is Carmidon. That I remember.
Oh, nice.
It's really good. Yeah, I remember some of the characters with all their food names. I think they're really good.
Yeah. It's
So yeah, I mean you're only an hour in, so you're getting like shades of that.
I've got a long way to go still. But even just within my first hour and a half, all I can say is that the game is real charming. Like I've been captivated from the beginning because the characters are so, I don't know, so likable. Like your main character, fun facts, I think both of us going into the game thought you were Chicory. That is not true.
Yeah.
Chicory is actually the previous wielder. So I'm assuming, it's a buddy named Chicory. The game starts off asking you what your favorite food is, and that ends up being the name of your character because
I did not know that.
Yeah, you don't know you're going to this world where everything's basically named or inspired by food. Like all the food areas are, like the starting area you said is Luncheon. And then you meet a whole lot of people with just food names, and it's just so, I don't know, it's just very, very cute and captivating. And then, like, I don't really have abilities, but just the fact that every screen I walk into, it's just a blank canvas, and it's black and white. I've only got 4 colors, and you don't have to, but I'm running through the screen and just like coloring in, tapping over there, doing that, changing color, and it's just really, really wholesome. Like that's the only word I can think that fits, it
feels calming, the painting. I found it very
soothing,
easy,
and even when you're doing the puzzles and stuff, it's just fun to just make your way through this world. It's just, I don't know, I think the word I'm looking for just feels fresh, I guess. It's something different to me. I've never quite played an adventure game like this where you've got the absolute freedom to just paint and chill and like make your way through the town and talk to people, all the while solving these very clever puzzles,
and it's really cool. All the color persists, so you can come back to an area hours after, and it's there.
I've done that already, where it's like I've been to this screen like 3 times. Let me just give it some color because I'm visiting it regularly. And you know what? What's nice about it as well is that you don't have to. If you really just want to play the game, like I'm here for the puzzle and the adventure, or just for the story, you can just walk your way through the world. Obviously, using your paintbrush to solve the necessary puzzles, but you don't have to color in a damn thing if that's not your
One of my
vibe.
favorite things is seeing screenshots of other players, on Twitter, and just how they interpreted the color, especially of characters. Like my Carmadin, I made him like red and made his like mane like orange because I just thought it looked really nice. And I've seen people do like completely different things with characters, and it gives them a whole different vibe, but it also just shows how they interpreted their characters in a way, like their persona.
What do they look like?
Exactly. And I mean, this isn't really a spoiler, but later in the game you get the ability, well, depends, if you find a certain person, you get the ability to create your own palette of colors.
Oh, wow.
So you're not confined to the ones given to you by an area.
Okay.
But I quite like the palette given to you because I feel like it gives each area a distinct look. Like, when I went into Potluck, like just because of the way I had colored in certain buildings, I knew immediately where I was. So yeah, I really like that feature. Have you played around with the GIF tool yet?
No, actually, I'm not quite sure how it works. So
every time you walk onto a screen, and you paint whatever, when you say create GIF, it will create a GIF from the moment you enter that screen but
when you stop,
it knows how many frames to skip to not make it like an endlessly long GIF. And I think the results are really, really cool.
That's cool.
I think it's such
a clever little feature as well. Yeah.
I don't know if that's on the PS4 version. I imagine not, but it's definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. So
on PC.
we both playing this on PC, and with keyboard and mouse, it's so straightforward because you're using your mouse to paint. So I'm not sure what the console experience is like. Like I imagine you just use the right analog to move around.
That's how you use the right analog to move your paint reticle around, which I think, I mean, this game does have boss battles and you can't die, but they definitely feel a lot harder than the rest of the game. And especially in some of the later ones, I was like, wow, how do you do this with a controller? Because it doesn't require precision, but you need to be really quick sometimes with some of your brush strokes. So Yeah, I played it on PC. I liked it on PC, like you said. This game is also nowhere near graphically intensive. So I think on the Steam page, I think under the requirements, they actually say you could run it on a toaster, but then don't try run it on a toaster, which I think is very cute.
Amazing.
Yeah, so
I mean,
yeah,
it's
open
basic,
wide to anyone. If you've got a laptop, you could play this probably.
Yeah. It's funny though, the only thing that not a concern, but I played like late yesterday afternoon after work, well, early evening, and going through, have you been through that option menu? Even that in itself is so quirky, like the way the descriptions are. Do
you want VSync? Yeah or nah?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, I really like that. But there's one setting there where it's basically like, how do you want your screen? And it's like default. I can't think of the wording, but basically, do you want to tone down how bright the screen is? So I
didn't see that. Okay.
Oh my word! I had it on default, and then I played a bit. Then I put the game away. Came back in the evening, and my room was quite dark. I played this game. I was like, oh my god, my eyes are like on fire because it's so
just
bright.
White. Yeah, it's just white.
But then I went to the settings and I put that on. And I was like, that's a less strain on my eyes.
Yeah, they've got really good set. I mean, you can even turn down or completely turn off the liquid noises. Yeah, maybe some people really get fucked out, but they get really bugged by that, and that's cool. I know my former editor at GameSpot, Callie, she really could not play games with any vomiting in it because she had a visceral bad reaction to them.
Sure.
So when Resident Evil 3 came out, she was like, their vomiting sections, are they still there? And I'm like, yep. She's like, well, guess I can't play this game. So having the option to turn off something that's not really game critical, that's cool. Lets people play the game the way they want. I think you can also turn off boss battles.
This game, in terms of accessibility, I feel that you probably could. I don't know off the top of my head, but I imagine that is included.
Which is cool.
It's clever.
I mean, if you're like, I just want the story, I don't want the boss battles, that's fine. I do think the boss battles have some of the best music in the game. The music obviously provided by Lena Raine of Celeste fame.
Yeah, let me tell you, the music I've heard thus far as well, it's just
so good.
It's all I can say is that I'm looking forward to not only playing the game but hearing what other music is thrown into my ears.
It's a very different vibe to Celeste. But I love it. In the same way that the colors give you a real sense of place, the music does as well. I can transition to a screen and be like, just from the musical cues, I'm like, cool, I know where I am.
Back in this area or whatever.
I can't wait for you to explore more of this map because I was not prepared for how large it is. It's intense and it's
Does it
really,
make you
really
think
good.
of Hollow Knight where you just keep...
Yeah.
Just think, holy shit.
It's very much like a Hollow Knight. And even when I'd finished, there were parts of the map that were still whited out. So I didn't find some secret areas.
Oh, wow.
And I'd love to know how I missed them because,
Siri, this is how you missed them.
I'd love to know how I missed them because I think you have to be, there's parts of the screen where you can only transition in small slivers of areas. So they're really, they don't hide the critical path too deeply, but if you really want to find everything in this game, it's hidden.
You have to pay close attention. Yeah. I mean, even the getting used to the aesthetic for me, there were one or two instances where it's like, I'm not sure where to go. So it's like me moving back and forth between screens, and eventually I'm like, I need to get to that level and then move through that path or whatever. But you get used to it. I mean, I did run into a pretty demoralizing bug. I have no idea how. I was on chapter 5. So each of the game has acts. And I somehow got, I don't know how, but I jumped to a place where apparently I was not meant to go. And it completely sequence broke the game. I got into an area I should not have been able to get into at that point. So then I ran into a boss and I was quite confused. I was like, wow, there was no lead up to this boss. Yeah.
And then when it finished, it's chapter 8. And I was like, whoa, what? Hold on. Yeah. So then I had to go onto the Steam forums and like I was like, this happened, and luckily it seems that the developers are like trying to address it, but there's a beta branch for the game which has a chapter select screen that they're still working on, and that allowed me to go back to my chapter, not really lose any progress.
Okay, cool.
Wow, for a good half an hour, I was like, well, I need to restart this game, and
my God,
I'm really far in.
Yeah. Let me tell you, speedrunners want your number. Like, how did you do that?
Yeah, I felt like a real speedrunner, because it wasn't even a thing like when it happened, I didn't realize I'd broken out of somewhere I wasn't meant to be. It looked like a completely normal thing for me to do. So yeah, just be aware of that. I mean, they are a small studio, and I think there's been 2 patches already, but if you do find yourself in a sequence like a soft lock, then yeah. Because after the boss, it transported me to an area that I couldn't leave because I didn't have a certain power.
Ability. Wow.
Yeah. So I was just stuck. I couldn't do anything.
Amazing.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
but Chicory, great time.
Real good time.
It's my game of the year by a margin right now.
That's quite something, because we've had some good games.
Had some bangers of games this year.
Let me tell you. Wait, before we do that, sorry. Just last thing on Chicory, I can't put my finger on it, and I know they're 2 completely different games, but if you enjoyed Chicory, I would highly recommend you go to Undertale, because I get such like similar vibes from both games. They're completely different. Like Undertale's, more of an RPG, but just in terms of the world and exploration and the characters, like I get the same sort of vibe from Chicory.
It's funny you say that, because Umar, a friend of ours on Twitter, said the exact same thing.
It's so like if you put them side by side, you're gonna know these are completely different games. Like apart from maybe the view of the game, the top down. But Undertale as well, don't sleep on that game. Also real good. Like
I really need to get to it.
Took me by surprise, and I suppose almost like Chicory's taking both of us by surprise, where you just expect like, it's like a puzzle solving platform or something, and it's more than that. So yeah, keep that on your list.
Have you played Deltarune, the sort of
no,
like
I haven't played the sequel. No, because I still want to replay Undertale, purely because I believe there are many different endings and ways to play the game. So I did and I mean my one playthrough was like 5-6 hours, so it's not like exceptionally long, but real good time. Also great music, great story and characters, and the combat is just unlike anything I've ever experienced before in a game.
I really want to give it a go. Yeah. I really do.